Jahan Dotson traded to the Eagles. What the? Greetings and salutations and welcome to Ref the District. I'm Nathan Perry doing this reaction solo because, oh my goodness, if you would have told me on a day that Washington traded a conditional seventh for a kicker that would not be the wildest trade that happened, I wouldn't believe you. I would not believe you, but here we are. Jahan Dotson, formerly of the Washington Commanders, the former first-round pick, the former number 2 wide receiver on this team, has been traded away to division rival Philadelphia Eagles. Adam Schefter was the first that I saw with the report, and this is the tweet that he gets out, is a rare in-division trade. Washington is sending former first-round pick Jahan Dotson and a 5th-round pick to the Eagles in exchange for a 2025 3rd-round pick and 2 7th-round picks per sources. Mind-boggling. We've heard that Jahan Dotson had been not really finding his footing here and that the wide receiver 2 battle was open and that, he was just trying to, do his thing and seemed like the talent was there. Just last night on our flagship program, I said he's still wide receiver 2 and he's going to be just fine, but that the wide receiver 2 might not be the person with the second most receptions. Now I just don't know what's going on because it doesn't seem like this is finished. In fact, several people on the beat were talking about how there might be some more moves happening. And I debated whether or not I was going to come on and do this recording because Lord knows by the time I get it edited, I'm sure something else is going to happen. And so I'll keep tabs on it here while I'm recording, just in case. But it's wild to me that we went from praising Jahan Dotson, and I know there was his detractors, okay, but I'm saying he was a wide receiver we needed in the first round 2 years ago. He had a good rookie season, showed a lot of promise. Last year was supposed to be his year, blooming up to the point where people were thinking that he might have been wide receiver 1. And then he has a dud of a sophomore year, and he's not fitting in. But to be traded is very, very bizarre to me. Now, Ian Rappaport has the details here on the specifics. The 5th is the only Commanders 5th that they have. The Eagles have 2/3, theirs and Miami's. This pick is the better of them. So that's good news for Washington. And then Philadelphia has 4 7ths. These are the 3rd and 4th of them. So the later in the round. So the worst of those. So that's how it works. So Jahan Dotson in a 5th. You figure maybe that 5th gets you those 2 7ths, and Jahan Dotson is essentially a 3rd. Is that really what we're saying here? Is Jahan Dotson was worth a 3rd-round pick, sending him to the rival Eagles? Now, he's only going to fit in with the Eagles, I imagine, as the 3rd wide receiver, right? They've got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and then it would be Jahan Dotson. We just got their 3rd wide receiver from last year, Zaccheaus, this year, and he was fairly successful over there in the Eagles. It's interesting that Washington goes out in free agency, gets Zaccheaus, and then trades away Jahan Dotson, who's going to play a similar role for the Eagles over there. Very, very interesting in that regard. We're going to play him twice. I don't think it's going to be that bad. You got to think he's probably going to be lining up against Mike Sanistrel, and I like that battle for us. As much praise as I gave Jahan Dotson, I really, really love Mike Sanistrel. So if you're lining up Jahan Dotson against Mike Sanistrel, I'm taking Mikey. Okay, maybe it's the burgundy and gold glasses on right now, but I'm taking our defensive player in that one. Now, if you put him on the outside, he might. Okay, we're not going to get carried away here. All right, we're not going to get carried away. I don't know what Washington's going to do now, though. They have Terry McLaurin, and we've already said it was Terry McLaurin and a bunch of guys. Before this trade, I would have said it was Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, De'Ami Brown, Oz, and Luke McCaffrey. And then if they're keeping just 6, probably Jamison Crowder. You could go Byron Pringle. You could go Matavius Bryant. I really think out of those older vets, only one of them is going to stay on the roster. Now with Jahan gone, you have Terry McLaurin, Oz, Diami, Luke, and then you're looking for one or two more, or two or three more players, depending on how many you're going to keep. I think that's really, really interesting to see how now it's going to play out. And if those beat reporters are right that there's more to come, does this mean Brandon Ayuk is going to come to town? I don't think so. I still think that, like, if you were going to trade for Brandon Ayuk, I feel like trading Jahan Dotson to San Francisco for Brandon Ayuk, and then of course you'd probably send a couple more picks, would probably be the optimal way to do that. So I still don't think that Brandon Ayuk is coming here. I just don't see that. But it feels like Washington's going to try to, get somebody in here. Or do you really think? I don't think they're going to stick with who's on the roster. I don't think they love those end of the roster guys that much that they're willing to give up Jahan Dotson. You don't tell us that there's a battle for wide receiver 2, or that it's still up in the air. Trade away one of those in the battle and feel really good about the guys who weren't stepping up and trying to take that spot. In my opinion, I think Oz is going to be fine. I think Luke McCaffrey is going to be fine. De'Ami Brown, I don't have a lot of hope for, but he at least has been showing out. I think this regime, the skill set that they're looking for didn't match Jahan Dotson. I think that there's a lot of problems with this game, not being able to get off of press coverage, being moved around a little bit, not being able to keep blocks. This is an offense, I think, that's going to be doing a lot of screens. Cliff Kingsbury is known for doing a lot of screens, and you need to have wide receivers that can block. And Oz and De'Ami Brown have been able to do that. Jahan Dotson hasn't. So that's one of those things. That's one of the reasons why I think Jahan Dotson was expendable. He missed one in preseason. There was a quick pass out to Zacchaeus, and Jahan Dotson doesn't keep his block and turns in what could have been a first down, catch and run into a measly 3 or 4 yards. And I think that stuff matters to this team and to this offensive coordinator and to this head coach. Like, these are the things they're looking for. It's clearly what Adam Peters is looking for. And we talked about how all of them are on the same page and how great that is. I think there's going to be a lot of Jahan Dotson fans. Let me know if you are, that are not happy about this trade. You have his jersey. You'd think that he was going to be, again, wide receiver 1 eventually for this team. And now he's going to be wearing that ugly Kelly green. All right. And I understand being upset. But if you don't think this is a good trade for Washington, I want you to sit back and I want you to think about how excited you were draft day, and how you do like Jaden Daniels, and how you do like, Mike Sandestro, like I was just mentioning, Ben Sinnott. Like, if you like those players, if you think that their potential is going to be good, then maybe trust the evaluators here, because the previous evaluators were god awful. You're talking about 4 first-round picks that won't get a second contract here. I'm going to call it now. All right. We know Jamin Davis is going to probably play out this year if he makes the 53, which I think he and Forbes will make the 53. But you're talking about Jamin Davis. He's not going to get one. Emmanuel Forbes really needs to turn things around if he's going to get a second contract. And I just don't see it right now with the way that he's been playing in camp and in the preseason. So unless he's a regular season ball out guy, I just don't really see him. And honestly, if Davis and Forbes were cut, would you be that surprised on Tuesday? I mean, you'd be disappointed, but would you be really that surprised that it happens? And then you talk about the other 2 first-round picks that Ron Rivera and company made. Chase Young and now Jahan Dotson did not play out their rookie contracts here with the team. That is absolutely ludicrous. I like to find something positive about things and the silver lining in all this, but I am struggling real hard about Ron Rivera's draft classes right now, because it's not looking good. In fact, do you remember this trade right here? We traded back and allowed the Saints to get Chris Olave, which a lot of people, to include those of us here on Ref the District, who really liked Chris Olave. Just for the record, I was a Kyle Hamilton, that draft guy, but that's not here nor there. This trade, they trade back. Saints take the guy most of us wanted to take at that spot. Washington then drafts Jahan Dotson, Brian Robinson, Sam Howell, and Cole Turner with those picks. On this team currently are Brian Robinson and Cole Turner. Cole Turner very well could end up either not on this team or on the practice squad come Tuesday, meaning you gave up Chris Olave for Brian Robinson. That's not great return on investment. Now, I know Sam Howell was turned around for some more picks, and then the Jahan Dotson trade will still be pending. Who are we going to get with that third round pick? There could be another Brandon Coleman or Luke McCaffrey that people really like, but we're not going to know for a few years. So right now, I don't know that Washington won this trade. I don't know that Washington lost this trade. I know that Washington's wide receiver group went from a strength last year to a big time question mark this year. I don't know that I would give this wide receiver group an above average score in the NFL. Last year, we were talking 1, 2, 3 punch. Jahan Dotson, Curtis Samuel behind Terry McLaurin. That was a top 5 unit right there going into the season. Didn't finish that way, but going into the season, there was a lot of praise and a lot of media praise. Now you're talking about Terry McLaurin, Oz, De'Ami Brown, Luke McCaffrey, Jamison Crowder. I mean, this is not an exciting group of wide receivers, and we're going to have to see how it plays out. And I want to hear from you here in the comment section right now, if you're watching this on YouTube, on what did you think of this trade? What are your initial reactions? Do you think it's a good trade? Do you think it's a bad trade? It's baffling to me that this happened, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else they're going to cook. In fact, I'm going to refresh my page here to see just in case some other craziness has happened. But this is, just something I think that is mind-boggling. Now, if this caught you by surprise and you don't know how either team are going to fare after this, you can head over to Bet Online, use the code BELIEVE, BLEAV, to get yourself some extra cash for your betting needs. They're the #1 sports betting app, especially for football. Once football season's in play, you can do live betting. And once you're done with betting there, you can go and do some of their live games that they have online. That's Bet Online, where the game starts. I'm Nathan Perry here on the Believe Network, Ref the District, brought to you by Bet Online. And until next time, what just happened? Be a fan.